The Dallas Mavericks avoid elimination in Game 4, forcing a Game 5 going back to Boston in a dominant performance. Luka, Kyrie, and all the Mavericks come through and destroy the Boston Celtics, handing them their first loss in over a month. That loss being to the Cavs in the second round, I think in Game 2. And this is not just a normal loss. This game was pure dominance. At one point, the Mavericks had a 48-point lead, which would be the largest lead in the NBA Finals in the last 50 years. If someone told you that stat but didn't tell you which team did it in these finals, you would immediately assume it's Boston. Boston's the heavy favorite. They've been blowing out teams all season long. Dallas is the heavy underdog, and they're down 0-3. But no, Dallas is the one that did this. Complete dominance. They looked completely desperate for a win, which is exactly what they needed last game. I don't know where this was. If I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, I'm happy we won this, but I'm also asking the question, like, where was this last game or the games prior? But at the very least, last game, because going down 3-0 is an impossible feat to overcome, like we've seen in the past where no one's ever come back down 3-0. So that's why I'm asking, like, where was this? I'm glad they're doing it now as an NBA fan. Just as a non-biased NBA fan, I'm glad the Mavericks did this, even though, you know, I'm sorry Boston's fans, I'm not trying to be biased or anything. I was rooting for the Mavs this game. I did not want to see a sweep in the NBA Finals. I want it to be an interesting Finals, at the very least a 5-game series. And for Dallas, this was just a phenomenal game for everyone, really. But starting with the head of the snake, Luka Doncic, I think he had his best game of this series without a doubt. He was great offensively. I think he scored 20 in the first quarter, and great defensively. I think this is one of the best individual defensive performances from Luka that we've seen in these playoffs. And coming out of Game 3, the huge talk of basically all the NBA was Luka Doncic crying to the refs, number one, and number two, playing zero defense, or maybe not zero defense, but 1% defense, maybe like playing one good possession defensively, and everything else is just really bad. It was the complete opposite this game. He was incredible individually, and he had his moments where he was keeping up with guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, etc. Like, he was playing very good defense. And Kyrie Irving, I think he had one of his better games. Of course, Game 3, he was incredible, but this game, he was the perfect complementary piece of this. He wasn't doing too much, he wasn't doing too little, and I also thought he played decent defense as well. And the whole defense of the Dallas Mavericks was just incredible, and honestly, I do think a big part of it is Luka Doncic actually trying on that end of the floor. When your leader and your best player is actually trying at defense, it does pump up the rest of the team. It does get everyone else motivated, and it seemed to work tonight because everyone was playing lockdown defense. Guys like PJ Washington, both bigs, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, played great defensively. Derek Jones Jr., Josh Green was incredible. He may have not had the greatest stats or anything, but he was playing great defensively and out hustling everybody and getting to the ball, every loose ball, every 50-50 ball. He was incredible today. But going back to the big man play, I thought the big man play was incredible today, especially when you look at the Celtics' game plan with the Dallas bigs, where it's like put a smaller forward like Tatum or a guard like Drew Holiday on the big men, so you can switch when, you know, Luka Doncic is calling for screens and stuff. And for most of this series, I mean, they're up 3. They were up 3-0 for a reason. Most of the series it was working until it looks like Dallas figured out a way to counter that, and that's basically feed the big man or shoot and let the big man get the offensive rebound. The offensive rebounding was insane. The rebounding in general was crazy. I don't know what it was by the end of the game, but by the end of the third quarter, the Dallas, which was when like the starters were taken out mostly and the game was basically done, the Dallas Mavericks by the end of the third had like over double the rebounds Boston had. And that offensive rebounding from the third quarter and below, none of this is talking about the fourth quarter, because I don't really care about the fourth quarter except for Tim Hardaway Jr. He cared about that fourth quarter. I wasn't really paying attention except for him. But these stats are basically from when the starters were actually playing and they weren't waving the white flag already. Dallas had 12 offensive rebounds, like I said, and 13 second chance points to Boston's 0. And this is where you look at the absence of Kristaps Porzingis. They said he was available this game, but Joe Mazzulla said he would only use him in particular moments. I don't even really know what that means. There was a couple moments I'd say you'd use him in this game, but he didn't. Obviously, it's because it was a blowout victory for the Dallas Mavericks, so you don't just risk Porzingis out there playing for no reason, basically. But I can definitely see him coming back in Game 5 in Boston, because without him, their rim protection was really bad and their rebounding was maybe even worse. Guys like Dante Exum, Derek Lively, of course Luka and Kyrie, they were just getting to the rim with 0 contests basically, and not really any shot blocking going on for Boston. And Derek Lively, I want to go on to what he did this game really quick. Absolutely phenomenal. I think Derek Lively has been one of the best players on the court every time he's on the court during these NBA Finals. And Derek Lively this game becomes one of only 2 players in NBA Finals history that is a 20-year-old with multiple double-doubles. It's him and this other guy, you might know him. Looks like he's pretty decent at basketball. Magic Johnson. But this game for Dallas was just really, really good. I mean, if you saw the game, you know how great they were offensively, defensively. They were just hitting shots. The energy was just different. Like, you can see Luka was just pacing back and forth down the court. He did not look sluggish out there. He did not look out of shape in any way. He was looking like he was giving 100% effort for, in my opinion, like the first time I've seen that in the whole finals. Which, it's kind of, it's good that you're seeing it now, but you're asking the question, where was it this whole time? But you definitely saw it this game, and if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you kind of hope you see this for the rest of this series, and you hope, of course, you can win 3 straight going from here. Now, I haven't made a video in a while, and I haven't even made a video on the NBA Finals yet, and it's Game 4 at this point, going into Game 5. And I'm not making this video because I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan and I'm happy that we finally won a game. That is not the case at all. I still think Boston's going to win this series. They're still up 3-1. They were up 3-0. We've never seen a team ever come back down 3-0. Not only in the finals, but in any playoff series ever. So, I mean, the odds are definitely heavily against the Dallas Mavericks. But I was going to make this video if Boston swept today. I just wanted to make a video already. I don't know why I hadn't already. But for Boston, how do you bounce back from something like this? You're up 3-0, everything's looking good, and you go into Game 4 into Dallas and you just completely get dominated and basically ran out the court. Well, for one, I think you got to get Porzingis back in Game 5. It was a clear hole out there when he's not on the floor. Not really just his offensive game, but his rebounding and defensive ability is huge for this team. And when he's not out there, it's just a huge hole that Dallas attacks, and they attacked it and did not stop today. Another thing is I just don't think they hit, very good shots. I also don't think their shot IQ was as good as it has been. A lot of times I saw Jaylen Brown just randomly shoot a deep 3 and almost airball or hit all backboard. Just not good shots. Like, it was just, I don't know what it was. I mean, I think it was Doris Burke or JJ Redick said it on the broadcast. It kind of felt like Boston was trying to make a comeback in one play. Like, they were just trying to hit a home run every single time. That was mostly in the first half. Second half, I don't really know if I noticed that as much. But I think you just have more of a patient offense in Game 5. You don't, try and hit these home run type plays where you're, deep threes or whatever. And if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm not really too, worried after a loss like this. Yes, it was a big time loss, almost 40-point loss. But it happens to every single team. Every single team in history has those moments where their energy is just off, shots aren't falling, the opposing team shots are dropping. It happens to every team. And if I'm Boston, as great as a team as they are, as many weapons as they have, and with how streaky the Mavericks have been in these finals, I'm not too worried that they're just going to come through and win 4 straight games in the NBA Finals. And if you're the Mavericks, they've got to win 2 in Boston if this goes to Game 7. And that is worrying. That is a tough task to do. And if I'm Dallas, I'm looking at this game and I'm obviously proud of the guys and everything and how great they played. Luka actually tried on defense, was still good offensively as well. Kyrie was good, Dante Exum, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, all the guys were really good defensively and offensively. But The thing that worries me about the Dallas Mavericks going forward into Game 5 and if there's a Game 6 and 7 is, will they be able to win a game against Boston, wherever it is, in Dallas or Boston, doesn't really matter, if the shots aren't falling and is, Luka's still having his offensive game and everything, but maybe it's a more inefficient night, or PJ Washington or Kyrie or Josh Green or whoever it might be is not there, the shots aren't falling, it's not a packed out arena rooting for you or whatever, it's not all smiles everywhere, it's more of a gritty game, grind it out type of game. Are the Mavericks going to be able to pull out wins like that against a Boston team that has been doing that for a while? Like, they've been doing that all season. Crowd was happy, Mark Cuban I bet was happy, Jason Kidd and everything. It was all smiles in Dallas today. But when the shots aren't going to be falling and everything, and you're going to have to grind it out, it's going to be a close game with Boston with all their weapons, will Dallas still be able to pull out those type of wins? I'm not sure if they can. Now, going into Game 5, the mindsets of both teams and what they should probably do. For Dallas, I think you just kind of hope for the same. You kind of just got to wait to see what Boston's changes are going to be to actually find out what changes you got to make as Dallas. Because this game, the big men for Dallas were feasting, with Gafford and Lively, of course. They were feasting in the paint, and if you're Boston, you got to make a change with that. If you're Boston, that mindset, I think you don't go into it thinking, it was fully a fluke for Dallas, because honestly, Dallas didn't even shoot the ball crazy good. They weren't knocking down a bunch of threes at a high clip like Boston sometimes does. I think at some point Luka, most of his scoring wasn't even from the 3-point line. It was mostly in the paint and mid-range, which I think is honestly a little bit more worrying for Boston, because you gotta watch out for Luka once he starts hitting those threes, and he's also playing defense. For Boston, I think you just pray that Porzingis comes back somehow, but Horford, you gotta get more from him, and Xavier Tillman, he's never really been a very great rim protector either, so I think you just hope for Porzingis to come back, and if not, you just gotta rebound the ball better, box out better, and I honestly think if they figure that out, I think they win next game if they just figure those things out. Rebound, better rim protection, and I think the shots will fall eventually. I don't think they're just gonna have a 2-game long cold streak from 3. And for Dallas going into Game 5, I think you hope that Luka shoots the ball better from 3. Even though he had a great game still, I think you hope he can catch fire from 3, which leads to other opportunities for other guys, and hopefully he still keeps playing good defense. And I honestly think the main thing for Dallas going into Game 5 is don't do what Minnesota did in the Western Conference Finals, and don't get complacent with just not getting swept. I don't think you go into Game 5 just being, oh, I'm glad we didn't get swept, so we can say that at least. I think you go into Game 5 with this type of energy again, and just hope the shots fall again, and if not, the paint was wide open, so I think you just attack the paint still, because, from what I was looking at by the end of the third quarter, Dallas wasn't just lighting it up from 3. Most of their points were coming from the paint, and it was the opposite for Boston. The Boston points in the paint was insane. It was an insane gap. I think at one point the points in the paint gap for Boston and Dallas, it was Dallas with 50 and Boston at 20. And that was around the end of the third quarter when the starters were pulled, like I said earlier. So for Boston, I think you pack the paint. I don't think you let them, drive with ease like they did this game. Unless Porzingis comes back, then you can rely on him mostly. And I think you just rebound the ball better as well. This is obviously easier said than done, but those are definitely the main issues they need to work on going into Game 5 if they want to close this out in Boston and not let Dallas get a chance to tie this series in Dallas. Anyways, that's the end of this video. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload. After the finals are done, I will be doing content for the offseason, talking about the draft, maybe some mock drafts or a mock draft on what I think is going to happen and everything. Of course, when free agency happens and everything, we'll be talking about all that. So make sure to subscribe and put those notifications on so you'll be notified every time I upload, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.